Welcome back. Yeah, how's everybody doing this morning? Only if you're a certain age will you recognize the way I said welcome back. Maybe you could put it in the comment section. All right, we're going to get into this thing. And you know what? Let's take a look at the news, or the price actually, while I read you some of the news here. So take a look at this. We're at $1.69, 1.6940. Remember what the analysts we have been following have been saying. There will be correction. So at this point, this does look like a correction or a bit of a sell-off. We'll take a close look at this in just a second. Right now for the headlines, Coinbase is now public. We will take a look at that price and see where we're headed today. A step in the right direction for banks and XRP. That is really a smoking gun. IMF, and talk about smoking guns, the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, is going to lay down for us in a video and reveal that digital money is, in fact, the answer for cross-border payments and transactions. Let's roll that beautiful intro. Here we go.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here. Today's numbers this morning are brought to you by Kava. That's exactly right. Kava, 37 million plus have been distributed in total earnings, or at least earned, I should say. They may not have taken the distribution, but they have been earned. So look here, 46+% for Bitcoin, real quick, 52% above for Binance USD, 22% for XRP, and coming down here, 25% for Kava, and 71% earnings, annual percentage yield for hard tokens on Kava, 402 million total asset value. Check that out. So here we go with the numbers this morning. That's a great yield, by the way. I'm going to tell you, that is a really great yield. And I tell you, I haven't had the chance to sit down and figure it out for myself, but I'm going to. And when I do, I'm going to teach it to all of you. Okay, now here we go. 2.2 trillion for the cryptocurrency market cap space this morning. We're looking at Bitcoin just over 62,000, up 10% on a 7-day. Ethereum at 2,400 plus this morning, 21% plus on the 7-day. And by the way, XRP at the number 4 spot, which was at the number 3 spot briefly yesterday. We're going to talk about that. $1.72 this morning. It does appear we are getting a bit of a pullback. We are off more than 6.8% on the 24-hour, but we're still up 78.79% on the 7-day. Not too bad with the SEC lawsuit hanging over our head. What's important here is that we look at the range right now, and the range right now is $1.59, 15910 on the low end of the range, and $1.85 on the high end of the range. We're currently at 1.6940, $1.69 this morning. Let's go ahead and get into the news this morning. So this was where we were at yesterday, and I said, hey, Binance, BNB, no offense, but we're going to need that 3rd spot back. And you know what? We got it briefly. And for too long, I think we get the number 3 spot, and maybe not too long in the distant future, I think we get the number 2 and the number 1 spot. But we got a road to go, and I get that. XRP Crypto Wolf, shout out to you, my friend, and all the influencers, Michael Val, 5 links included, and everyone else. XRP took back the number 3 spot from BNB briefly yesterday, and that was an exciting moment. Now, since has lapsed back into the number 4 spot, but we'll keep an eye on it. Now, this public service announcement, ladies and gentlemen, Celsius has had a phishing attack. Shout out to Rob Licker for this one here. Be very careful if you are a Celsius customer. And in fact, this is just a public service announcement in general to remind all of us, I don't care what you get, email or text, you better make sure you know who it is. Do not take it for granted. And this is a rule of thumb that I use. If I'm contacted by any exchange via text or email, I assume that it is fake first, and then I go through a series of checking it to see if I can verify that it is, in fact, an official email. So the best place to start with any contact from any platform, exchange, or cold or hot storage that you use for your crypto, assume that the message is fake and then work back from there. And I think that will always help to keep you safe. Let's look here because this is exciting. We're looking at Coinbase, ladies and gentlemen, listed on NASDAQ. $328.28 last night. And it says pre-market value is at $349.89 this morning. It's already up 21.76%, and the market hasn't gone off yet. So this is really exciting. We will try to watch this all day. What I find really cool about this is now we're mixing in the conventional markets with the crypto platforms and the coin prices. This is going to continue. At some point, we're going to see Kraken IPO. At some point, we're going to see Ripple IPO, and many, many others go on down the road and eventually someday Uphold, right? And that's why I keep showing you this, because Coinbase started out on link 2, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it started out with private equity right here. And Ripple's there too. And I show you this stuff all the time. And Uphold sold out. Sold out. I personally believe, and none of this is financial advice, that Uphold has been hugely undervalued, knowing that Coinbase is now selling for $350 when the market opens. So this stuff is available in private equity. If you're interested, you got to make your own decision, but you do have to be accredited. And actually, you don't. You could take a test, join link 2, request that you want to get the exam FX test, and you could take the test, pass the Series 65, and you don't need to meet the requirements. So there is no more excuses. If you want private equity, you can get it. Link 2 is amazing. Reach out to them. They can help you. All right. Looking right here, this is another step in the right direction from XRP Attorney Seal. Shout out to you, my friend. And this comes originally from Jamie Nix right here. And it says the largest bank in Canada, TD Canada, has added XRP to its index ticker. So it's not available to purchase through the bank. But it is, in fact, just as XRP Attorney Seal says, this is another step in the right direction. If they're listing it on the index ticker, the next step is to, in fact, offer it at some point, I would think. So that is really, really encouraging. But know that you can't get it yet, but they're listing it. And that says a lot to me. And we know that that's in Canada. So we know here in the U.S., Brian Brooks, when he was at the OCC, did an enormous amount to open up the avenues for banks to, in fact, custody digital assets. Things are getting bigger and better all the time. And speaking of that, this is 4 or 5 minutes of straight fire from Kristalina Georgieva. And I'm going to play this for you, and I'll interject if I need to in certain spots. But the reality here is that she is getting ready to reveal to all of us that digital money is, in fact, the plan that they are pursuing at the IMF for remittances and cross-border transactions. You know what? I can't say it better than her. Let's let her say it. Here we go.
Thank you for joining us here today for this virtual workshop about how digital money can facilitate remittances. The eminent MIT economist Rudy Dornbush famously said, "In economics, things take longer to happen than you think they will, and then they happen faster than you thought they could."
Did you hear what she just said? Things take longer than you think they will, and then they happen faster than you thought they could. Now, what do you suppose she's telling us that for? She just started that off as her opener. Do you know what they refer to as the opening remarks of a speech? Which, in fact, is the reason that I open my channel the way I do with headlines. It's called the promise. That's the way they teach it at MIT. When you open up a speech and you're going to talk, within the first few seconds, you need to make that promise to the listener about what will happen before the information is over in the speech. She just made a promise that things may seem like they're taking longer, but they will be here faster than you think. Let's keep listening.
Digital money is a perfect illustration. After a long period of development, the field is now on the cusp of major changes that have the potential to reshape cross-border payments and remittances. For example, last October, the Bahamas launched the sand dollar, the world's first central bank digital currency.
Real quick, do you remember when they launched that sand dollar? And I bet there's a lot of people listening to this that are going, yeah, and I didn't think much of it because it was in the Bahamas.
Many other economies are exploring their own pilot programs. Other forms of digital money, such as privately issued stablecoins, are increasingly being used for cross-border payments. We are witnessing a revolution in digital money that could make remittances easier, faster, and cheaper.
I thought they were just piloting at it. You know what I mean? She says they're already using it to make things cheaper, faster, and easier. There's a lot more going on here than we realize.
One of the key messages from our spring meetings has been the danger we face from growing divergences across countries. Divergences in access to vaccines, in recovery from the pandemic, and in access to a digital future. Remittances have always played a key role in improving the lives of people in developing economies and supporting economic activity. As we look for ways to address the challenges of economic divergences across countries, we need to use every tool we can to support those most affected by the pandemic. And with the risk of a growing digital divide between rich and poor countries, we must also ensure that all countries can benefit from the latest innovations in digital money and in digital payments, especially remittances. Efforts are underway to improve cross-border payment systems under the Financial Stability Board's 2020 roadmap. New forms of digital money could provide a parallel boost to the vital lifelines that remittances provide to the poor and to developing economies. Within the right framework, peer-to-peer transfers of central bank digital currencies or privately used stablecoins could lead to shorter payment chains, faster transactions, and more competition among remittance providers. The biggest beneficiaries would be vulnerable people sending small value remittances, those most at risk from being left behind by the pandemic. With such digital disruption also comes risk. We can address the risks posed by digital money by focusing our efforts on three areas. First, new forms of money must remain trustworthy. They must protect consumers, be safe and anchored in sound legal frameworks, and support financial integrity. Second, domestic economic and financial stability must be protected by carefully designed public-private partnerships that underpin the provision of digital money, including fair competition. And third, frameworks should be geared towards ensuring the international monetary system remains stable and remains efficient. Countries need to maintain control over monetary policy, over financial conditions, capital account openness, and foreign exchange regimes. Payment systems must grow increasingly integrated and must work for all countries to avoid a digital divide.
And there you go. And that is nothing but straight fire coming from Kristalina Georgieva. And the things that I'm showing you are, in fact, from the IMF last summer. And I encourage you to understand that these pilots that you thought probably were not that impactful, that they were happening in the Bahamas or some other place around the world that really didn't feel like it was touching you or what have you, really are, in fact, these litmus tests, these pilot tests that were being examined and then are going to be eventually, probably in the near term, as she said in the beginning, faster than you think, rolled out globally, because they understand now what the effects are and they know that there's an upside they cannot turn a blind eye to. Now, really quickly, this is a professor here from Johns Hopkins University here, and he was talked to by NTD, and shout out to NTD for this, Kent Swig. One of the biggest real estate developers in New York City just gathered $6 billion to set up a cryptocurrency backed by gold. If a cryptocurrency is backed by something like gold on the dollar, it's called a stable coin. At any moment, you can swap it and fix the amount of the anchor money, an ounce of gold. For example, this is different from Bitcoin, which changes price depending on what people are willing to pay for it. Obviously, that's not a solution. NTT discussed with Newcoin with Steve H. Hanke or Hankey or what have you. I don't know how to say his last name, a professor of applied economics at Johns Hopkins University and one of the largest leading experts. He's not a fan of Bitcoin, but says crypto is the future. And one has to wonder, because I think we all know that whether it's gold backed or not, we could see something like what he's mentioning, where we talked about even Judy Shelton, who has suggested in the past that you could go to a gold and a cryptocurrency sort of way. And this is an illustration here to understand that layout, that you have central banks around the world that would put up money as deposits, and it could be green as in cash, the country's money, added with gold or gold bonds, and you could put up all things that are tokenized, whether it be stocks, bonds, options, or oil, right? Anything, right, that's tokenized of value, and put those reserves up to provide the ratio you need to supply for digital dollars of each country's money to be put on the ledger. And then from there, you could actually have a system that actually works. And it could be partially with gold and many other different things of assets of value that have been tokenized. But this falls in line with what he's saying, with the same remarks that was made by Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of England from 2019, in the group of 30, where he breaks down here that, the spillover shocks associated with the dominance of the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency, a systemic hegemonic currency, could, for example, be a stable coin, which he refers to here as a global official sector stable coins. And he says could be backed by a deposit of different central banks. It is possible that such a stable coin could be valuable for cross-border payments, serving as a function similar to that offered in the private sector by Ripple, a real-time gross settlement system, currency exchange, and remittance network whose digital currency XRP leapfrogs slow and expensive correspondent banking. And you know what? Let's hear just a couple quick clips here from the horse's mouth himself. This is Brad Garlinghouse from a Korean reporter interview meeting, and he answers here the question in 2018, and what's the goal? We catch a lot of heat as YouTubers out here about we hype. Well, I don't see anybody calling Brad Garlinghouse out for hype when he said in 2018 the message was XRP being a global reserve currency. Let's just hear him say it.
Regarding XRapid, so it seems, according to your explanation, XRapid would use XRPs as a part of the transaction. Do you think that the existing issued 100 billion XRPs will be enough to cover once the XRapid service scales to a global full scale, or would there be a shortage?
Well, so when XRP was created, this actually was created before Ripple existed. The creators of XRP decided there'd be 100 billion units because they saw it as rather than having a smaller number with a very high price, they saw it as something. They wanted to be effectively a global reserve currency. I think the opportunity. Well,
did you hear that? Yeah, there it was. He said it in 2018. And guess what happened just at the latter part of last year? This is what he told us at the latter part of last year to let you know that the plan is still coming together. And remember, there were YouTubers out here that said, or at least one that was talking about the fact that Miguel Villas had failed at XRP Global Markets. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth, because listen to what Brad Garlinghouse told us back in November of 2020.
I mean, certainly we do know of central banks looking at the XRP ledger as open source technology to issue stablecoins using the XRP ledger.
I don't know what else you need to hear. Everything is still on track. Nothing has gotten off track. In fact, it's gotten bigger. That's where we're at today, and that's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe and leave a comment below. It ain't hype, ladies and gentlemen, and if it is, Ripple's responsible for it because it looks like they're on target. And if they are on target, is it hype or is it real? And for me, it is very real. That's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, cryptotaxaudit.com. It's tax time. Reach out to Clinton Donnelly. It is, in fact, the best offering for crypto tax help and getting your crypto taxes done, or crypto tax audit protection. It is very affordable. Join that membership. It's like $35 it costs a month, and it costs way less than an actual audit. And by the way, it sets you up for early alerts if the IRS is, in fact, looking at you as well. Make sure you check all that out and all the other services and products and services I use each and every day. They are trusted, vetted links. I'll catch all of you on the next one.